Guys, this is River again. I wanted to go ahead and make a video about how I knew I was transgendered. That's always a really big question that people ask me when I tell them that I'm a transgender person. Um, and the answer is it's not very easy to answer that. I grew up in a really small town where it was full of a bunch of Hispanic people in a predominantly like Catholic place. So being a little bit different wasn't a good thing, and the differences in people were not embraced. I was in a family where I grew up around a bunch of men, and I always felt a little bit out of place. And so I had suppressed feelings that I had. I can't really say that I was like other transgendered people that knew from a very young age that they were the opposite gender that they were assigned. But I did have a lot of tendencies that were more feminine. Um, Growing up in a place like I did, all the men were expected to, be outside, hang around the other men, do manual labor, and the women were expected to stay inside, cook, and gossip and all that. And I, um, I gravitated towards the women, and I think that was just maybe because I was a mommy's boy. Um, you know, I. There were different points in my scattered throughout my childhood where I remember exhibiting behavior like wrapping towels around my head and pretending that there were really long hair, or blankets around me and pretending I was wearing a dress. In the shower when I'd get out, I'd wrap towels around me and pretend like I was a woman. And I always just attributed that to, thinking that I was just a gay man. When I was younger, I was very religious, so I thought, this is evil. I can't be thinking these thoughts. So I was very big on being a straight person. I had girlfriends, and eventually, once I got out of high school, it was actually shortly before graduating high school, I came out to my friends, which was pretty easy because a lot of my friends in my group were gay, and we all kind of came out at the same time, which is kind of annoying because there could have been 3 years where there were 3 years that we knew each other, where we could have just admitted that we were gay, but it was just the surroundings, the environment that we grew up in. We were not allowed to talk about that. Um, and after high school, I did a lot of the typical, gay young adult things. That once I was at the legal drinking age, I went to a lot of bars and clubs, and I slept around a lot, and did drugs and alcohol, and it was just kind of like filling this void because I was never truly happy with where I was at in life. There was just something always missing, and I could never put my finger on it. I didn't know that there was anything missing. It was just a very complicated feeling. Um, and when I was 23, I lived in Dallas, Texas, and I worked at a restaurant where one of the managers was actually a drag queen. And I think on my first week there, he said that he wanted me to dress up and drag with him, and that was such a new idea. I did not want to do it. I kind of tiptoed around, the question, and put it off for, oh man, at least 8 months. I put off doing drag with him. And the only reason I did it was because it was Halloween and I dressed up as Snooki. And I was a really good Snooki. I looked like her a lot. Now she's skinny, so I look like old fat Snooki. But when he dressed me up and put me in makeup and put me in a dress, it was kind of all these fantasies that that I had when I was a kid were coming true, and I was really, you know, I thought I was really pretty. That's just because I was seeing myself with makeup. But to my surprise, other people thought I was really pretty, and other people thought that I was a real woman, which wasn't very good because I entered a costume contest and they thought my costume sucked. because they thought I was the woman who put on just a black dress and looked like Snooki. Little did they know that I was that I was a man. But after I did that, it was such an experience. It stuck with me, and I would buy women's clothing and buy women's shoes, and I thought, I'm just a drag queen. I'm just a drag queen, and I would go out in drag, and people would ask me things, like, oh, do you want to become a woman? And my answer was always no. I just do this for the art form. And earlier this year, after my 25th birthday, I met my first transgendered friend, and she was probably the coolest person I've ever met. She was from Colombia and moved to the States, and transitioned later on in her life, and she's had to overcome a lot of adversity. And listening to her stories and listening to how she was able to break away from her country and her family and do everything that she wanted to do, it was so inspiring, because that's exactly what I wanted to do, and she was exactly who I wanted to be. Though I didn't know at the time, I didn't know that I was transgendered. So, like I said, after my 25th birthday, I started looking up videos on transgendered people. I started looking up like the time-lapse videos where you start seeing all their pictures, and there was one really cool one that was like a 3-year long one, and that one was so interesting and so amazing, because I noticed as these pictures were progressing, when she was a man, she wasn't really smiling, and as it progressed and she became more feminine, that smile became bigger and bigger, and it was very inspiring. And it was just so neat that these people were becoming women, and I was watching it. And then the thing that eventually got me was, I was sitting at home alone. I work a night job, so it was my night off. Everyone was asleep, and I was sitting at home, and I went on to logotv.com to watch some RuPaul's Drag Race. Well, I got tired of the show, and I started looking up what else was online, and I saw this show called Transform Me. And I remember watching it and just kind of being a little weirded out that there were a bunch of transgendered women fixing up straight women, which is basically what it was about. And as I started watching it, I kept, clicking next episode, and I started noticing that these women were just so beautiful, and they would have their stories, and they would, every little segment had like a little story from each one of them. And it was Laverne Cox, Jamie Clayton, and please forgive me, I don't know what the third one is, what her name was. But I don't know, it was just amazing watching these women who led wonderful lives and who were just so beautiful and helping these other people out. And after I watched the entire season, it felt like all of these cogs were spinning, and at one moment all the cogs came together and clicked. And this was like in my brain, and everything just clicked, and everything started going, and I realized, oh my god, I'm transgendered. All of their stories and all of these things from the past, they all started coming up, and it started flooding my brain, and memories, and just everything just came up at once, and it was just a lot to process. And it was almost immediate. Like, I'm transgendered. That's it. Like, that's it. That's what's up with me. And that very next day, I told both of my high school friends, who I live one of them is my roommate, the other one I live very close to, and we're all really good friends. And I told them, and they were so supportive, which was fantastic. And that next day, I called around for gender therapists, gender therapists that would take me on, and and I guess the more that I thought about it, the more I knew that I'm transgendered. And ever since then, it's been a crazy experience, and I've loved every moment of it. I don't regret any of it, and I'm excited to see what happens in the future. But yeah, if you have any questions or anything, feel free to leave me some comments, and I would love to go ahead and answer them. I'm sorry, YouTube is very new to me, blogging is very new to me, so if you have any suggestions, go ahead and write them down. I don't have a microphone yet, and I'm getting a camera soon, so hopefully the video quality will change, and I can buy a microphone soon. So, sorry about the bad quality. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye!